Today, we're jumping into a story of such dramatic highs and lows, it almost feels like it can't be real. It's a journey that doesn't just cross miles, it pushes what a person believes in right to the absolute breaking point. I mean, think about that for a second. It's the huge, shocking question at the heart of our story. It seems impossible, right? But it's exactly what happened on a mission that pushed two men to the very edge. Let's dig in. All right, so our journey kicks off in the city of Iconium. And right away, a pattern starts to form. Amazing success, immediately followed by some really dangerous opposition. So Paul and Barnabas show up at the local synagogue, which was kind of the center of the community, and their message just lands. I mean, it really connects. So much so that it crosses cultural lines. You've got both Jews and non-Jews, the Greeks, getting on board. It was an incredible start. But you know how it is. That kind of success, it doesn't go unnoticed, and it creates a huge backlash. Their message basically split the city right down the middle. On one side, you have the new believers, and on the other, folks who didn't just disagree. They went out of their way to turn everyone else against them. And this wasn't just some angry words either. It got serious. We're talking about a real plot to publicly stone them. Once they got wind of the plan, they really had no choice but to get out of there, fleeing for their lives to the next towns over, Lystra and Derbe. So they get to Lystra, and you'd think things might cool down, right? Nope. The situation gets even wilder. They escape one life-threatening mess only to walk straight into something completely bizarre and, well, just as dangerous. Picture this. In the crowd, there's this guy, and everybody knows him. He wasn't in an accident. He was born this way. He had never, ever walked. Now, that detail is key to understanding the chaos that's about to unfold. Paul just locks eyes with him, sees that he has faith, and gives this simple, direct command. And just like that, the man doesn't just get up, he leaps to his feet and starts walking. An entire lifetime of being paralyzed, just gone. The crowd just loses its mind. They don't see a medical miracle. To them, in their world, an act this powerful could only mean one thing. They start shouting in their own local language that the gods themselves are visiting them. And what's so fascinating is how they came to this conclusion. It wasn't just random. They figured Barnabas must be Zeus, the king of the gods, probably because he had this kind of powerful presence. And Paul, since he was doing all the talking, well, he had to be Hermes, the messenger god. This made perfect sense to them because they had local stories about gods visiting Earth disguised as people. And this wasn't just talk. This shows you how dead serious they were. The priest from the local temple of Zeus immediately gets bowls and wreaths ready for a formal sacrifice. I mean, they are literally moments away from worshiping Paul and Barnabas as actual gods. Okay, so this is where everything flips on its head. The story takes this incredibly violent turn. They go from the absolute peak of being worshipped to the lowest, ugliest depths of hatred. And the switch is fast, it's total, and it is brutal. You can just imagine, Paul and Barnabas are absolutely horrified by this. They start tearing their clothes, which was a huge sign of protest and distress, and they run out into the crowd trying to stop it all. They're yelling, "No, no, no, we're not gods, we're just people, like you." But here's the crazy part. While they're trying to calm everyone down, those same opponents from the other cities, they show up. And with unbelievable speed, they manage to turn this adoring, worshipful crowd into a lynch mob. The same people who wanted to offer a sacrifice to Paul now pick up stones to sacrifice him. They stone him until he's limp and then drag him out of the city. So, that should be it, right? I mean, game over. A man's been stoned by a mob and left for dead. But what happens next really gets to the heart of what this mission was all about. It's just a moment of pure resilience. And everyone there, the crowd, his opponents, they were sure he was dead. They'd done the job. He wasn't moving. For all anyone knew, it was over. But then, as his new followers gather around what they think is his body, he just gets up. And then he does the absolute last thing you'd expect. He turns around and walks right back into the very same city that just tried to kill him. Just think about the guts that takes. So you gotta ask, why? Why on earth would you go back? Well, later on, they explain it to their followers. This stuff, the hardship, the violence, it wasn't some horrible accident. It was actually part of the deal. They taught that suffering like this wasn't a sign they were failing, but that it was a necessary part of the journey itself. So, after all that, the highs, the lows, the near-death experience, what was the point of it all? When they finally returned home, they laid out the real purpose behind all the chaos and the miracles. So on their way home, they actually go back through those same dangerous cities, Lystra and Iconium, but not to pick a fight. They went back to build something. They encouraged the new believers, set up local leaders, and basically created a lasting foundation for these brand new communities. And when they finally get back home, this is how they sum up the whole trip. They don't focus on the stoning or the mob or being mistaken for gods. They frame the whole dangerous journey by its result. A door had been opened. Their message had finally broken through to a whole new audience, the non-Jews or Gentiles. And that was the goal all along. And that really leaves us with this big question, doesn't it? This ancient story kind of forces us to ask something about ourselves. When you're faced with that kind of whiplash, from wild praise one minute to brutal rejection the next, what does it really take to stick with what you believe in?